How are you doing? Welcome back to my desk here. Thank you for joining me again. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to drop a video on this Legacy Wildrider. Pretty excited for this one. This is obviously part of this whole Menasor or Motor Master as well that came out a bit back that I did a video on. So really excited to get this guy. This is one of the limbs. I believe he's the left foot for Menasor. But I'm just glad to have this guy to add him to the collection. So yeah, I got this via Hasbro Pulse. Decided to go that route just because it seems like Big Bad Toy Store is recently having a bunch of delays with some other figures. So I figure why not. Anyway, so you guys can see this is the standard Legacy packaging. I do really love the artwork here of the figure. Very purple and blue, very Decepticon-like colors, which is really cool. There's the figure itself, no plastic window, and here's the Legacy artwork there. Here's the back. I really do like this packaging. It's a shame I don't keep my boxes or keep my stuff in boxes anymore, but obviously I think it looks like they put a lot of nice work into this artwork here. Yeah, so without further ado, I'm gonna open this guy up and then we'll do a quick video. All right, so here we are back. Finally had a chance to take this guy out, go through the steps and the process. As you guys saw, he comes in the packaging in robot mode, so that's how I have him. In addition to the figure itself, you do get his two weapons, which you can actually combine into one, if that's something you'd like to do. But the weapon itself is really nicely done. Some nice coloring there. For this size, I think it's nicely detailed. And you get two that are pretty much essentially the same. There are ports here that you can use to connect the gun and then maybe make it into one weapon, if that's something you'd like to do. That's pretty much all he comes with accessories wise. Obviously the instructions, you do get them. Had a bit of an issue with the instructions, I think as far as one of the steps here in the back. This step specifically here, where it shows you to bend the sides of the car to get everything folded in. But I'll show you that during the car mode. And also, strangely enough, there's no step here on how to make him into the foot part of Menasor. I know it's relatively simple, so that's probably why they didn't include it. But just wanted to show that the instructions don't actually show that one step. But as far as the figure itself, it's really nice. I love, again, the likeness or them trying to stick so much to the G1 models. Obviously, this is... you look at this guy with the red and the dark gray, and this is definitely the character that I grew up with watching in the cartoon, the Stunticons, Wildrider. The face is really well done. Again, this is pretty cartoon accurate. Some nice detailing there in the gray with the silver and the blue. I think it's really... It's well done from that perspective, and the rest of it is like this drab gray, which I don't mind because it's pretty appropriate for the character, right? It's pretty accurate, but you do get the hints of red here from the red and the red from the car mode, sorry, and the red's really well done. As far as articulation for this guy, the head fully turns around. His arms you can't turn him all the way around. He's got looks like some bicep articulation here. Elbows do bend 90 degrees. The hands don't do anything, unfortunately. They're kind of just stuck in place. They do rotate in, but it's part of the transformation. And this is going to be one of my gripes again, that you do get some hollowness here due to that. That's where the fist kind of goes in for the transformation. And then you can rotate the waist fully around if that's your thing. The legs here, you get full rotation there, and there is if I could do it here, there is that knee there that you could do full 90 degrees there if that's what you want. You guys can see it. There you go. So you can sit down if that's quite your thing. And there is some foot articulation there. This is part of the transformation, but it's something you can use for posing. And you guys see the ankle tilt there. I really do like this figure, although there are some things about it that bother me, and that's mainly to do with the back part, which is pretty obvious, is this backpack. I really wish they would have had a better way to somehow hide this or make it part of the transformation, but perhaps that would have made the robot mode a bit more complicated than needed. But and this, the way you have it here, is an alternate way of presenting this, because essentially per the instructions, they actually want you to have these things separate and sort of like that, so that it looks like that from the front. At least that's how I've seen it in the product shots and in the back of the box. I don't know if you guys can see it there, which looks very messy to me, and that just makes the backpack 10 times worse. I also don't like the windshield just kind of hanging down there. So yeah, that's something I'm not really happy with. I think just because the robot mode itself from the front looks so nice, and I think this backpack just makes it look really, really unclean. Obviously, the way that I've had it here kind of cleans up some of that, and but I think by doing this, you kind of make the backpack then more pronounced. Obviously, it looks way better from the front now when you do that, but I just wish there would have been a better way to integrate this into the robot mode. I don't know if it's a price point that perhaps they couldn't be bothered to do that, but that would be my one gripe, is this whole backpack that he has there. He's going backpacking, and then obviously the hollow hands here, but I don't know if at this size and at this price range they would have been able to give us I don't know, something to cover this here. But other than that, I mean, I really do like the figure. You can post it. Of course, he's a bit back heavy because of the backpack, but he's got pretty strong joints, so you can put him in some nice poses. The included weapons are pretty cool. He obviously can hold them in each hand, so that's really nice. You guys can see him there, but he is very poseable. I do obviously display my figures in bot modes, mainly for the front. I guess once you start getting them into a bit more of exaggerated poses and stuff, that backpack is a bit of an eyesore. And yeah, again, I really wish they would have done a better job in hiding it. But, you know, again, at this price point, at this size, yeah, I'm not sure. It would have been a bit more complicated robot mode to hide all that. But overall, I am happy with it. I love the fact that the color, the representation, the face is well done. This is pretty much Wildrider from, you know, the series that I grew up with. And then next we'll go over the car mode. Okay, so here we are back in car mode, and I do like this car mode quite a bit. Obviously, I like the coloring. I do like that, again, this is very reminiscent, again, of what he looked like in the cartoon. I like the red outline here. Really cool. Obviously, there's some gappiness here in the bottom, which I'm not too crazy about, but you know, I'm not going to be looking at it from that direction. I think, you know, I love the Decepticon logo right there up in front. The red windows, the red clear windows are done really nice. So I do overall, for the most part, do like this mode. Here's some ports here on the roof. There's a port here in the back, but I don't know that you could fit anything in there. I think that's just meant to be decoration. But there's some nice detailing there in the car mode. I don't know if this was supposed to be some kind of Ferrari back in the day. I believe it was, but I could be completely wrong, so I'm not gonna expand on that too much. But I do like this car mode. It does roll. And then you could take his guns and pretty much attach them to the roof here. So he can go around shooting Autobots there. Now, I did have some issues transforming this guy. The instructions, for the most part, have you do this front part first. And then have the arms here on the sides in place already. Before you start turning the legs. So I had some issues in that. There's a couple of things, actually. I don't know if you guys could see here, there is a place to attach these sections. There's supposed to be nubs and another section down here, at least for the instructions, where these panels are supposed to secure in place. And I'll show you in the instructions here. Oh, here we go. In this step, they actually show these sections are there for the feet to sort of tab in place, but my copy does not have these tabs or these sections here for them to click in, as you will see here. So maybe, I don't know if it was like a bit of a running change, unless I'm crazy and I'm missing it. It doesn't seem to be there. So, and to be fair, it's not that much of an issue, because once you get them in place, they do, it does go in place okay. My only gripe is that if you once you set the feet in place, it kind of interferes with the wheels sometimes. The other huge thing for me was that part of the transformation, as I just showed you, they want you to sort of pull these panels off to the side. Now, if you look at these instructions, it kind of shows you that they're almost like bent at a 90-degree, like almost straight on. Mine don't go all that way, and I would recommend that if you do plan on getting this toy, that you don't try to get them in that position, because I have stress marks here just from bending the figure all the way this way. Do not try and place these panels just like the instructions tell you here, because they're not meant to go all the way, at least not in mine. As you guys could see, I unfortunately, when I was transforming him without paying attention, I went like that, and it actually placed stress there on the plastic. I don't know if you guys could see that there's a little bit of a bend. Now, I didn't handle this too hard by any means. I kind of just opened it and went like that, and there you go. I don't know if the plastic's already weak, because you could see there is some slight discoloring, some darker smudging going on there with the plastic. And then also, because part of the transformation, they want you to have this whole front portion with the arms kind of already in place before you start folding in the legs. But the arms are always going to get in the way and push these panels out. So what I do is I leave this whole front section for last and do this first and try to get everything in place, and then I start to do the front. That's just to avoid the rest of the body getting in the way and potentially causing issues like this. Which is unfortunate, obviously partly, I'm not going to put it just solely on the toy, but I'm surprised that with very little force, the plastic kind of already warped, and, and it's showing the stress there. So I'm not too confident that from transforming this a lot, it's going to hold up. So that's my gripes. So for the foot mode, essentially, we're going to lift up the windshield here, which I've already undone. And then you're just going to fold this essentially forward, and then windshield sits like that. This is going to go tab in the back of Menasor. In his back left leg. I mean, he can go on the left or the right. And there are tabs on the Menasor trailer that you can see. There's sections here that these go attached to. So I'll probably show that once I get all these guys, and I'll be able to put Menasor all together. But that's essentially your foot mode there. Some quick comparisons. Here is the Combiner Wars Wildrider, which I believe they actually called him Breakneck in the US, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't believe he was actually called Wildrider, but there you go. Obviously, I like this color scheme better than this one, but this is a really nice mode. This is a US version. They also had a Japanese version that was a bit more accurate in the colors to the actual cartoon, but there you go. I also have the US, so before this guy was released, they had this guy. His name is Off-Road. He was meant to replace Wildrider. I'm assuming maybe because they didn't have at the time the name, or they didn't own the trademark to that name, perhaps. So yeah, he was a little truck there. But just to show you, obviously there's some similarities there with the color. And as you can see, this is missing a wheel. I kind of put this away, and this is a toy that my nephew plays with whenever he comes by. And as you can see, this is what happens when you give a toy to a 6-year-old. I have no idea where the wheel went, but just to show you there the differences. So to wrap up the video here, I figure I would do a couple of comparisons to some of the robots I have here laying around. And the first one would be the Combiner Wars Wildrider, or Breakneck, I think, as they used to call him. But yeah, obviously some similarities. Again, this is the US version. I know Takara released a Japan version, I guess, had the more accurate G1 colors. But yeah, you can see some similarities there. Obviously, the heads are pretty similar. The gray on this guy is much lighter, but it does sort of give you an idea of you know, who this guy is. Interestingly enough, I had forgotten that this robot here also had a backpack. So I guess he can't escape the backpack curse here. Very similar also transformation with the legs opening and you know, the back as well. So just want to show those. And there you go, Combiner Wars. And the last Combiner Wars figure, here he is next to his alternate. This is Off-Road. Again, this is a US version of Off-Road. This is what we had prior to having the Dead End. Sorry, the Wildrider I just showed you guys. So yeah, that was supposed to be this guy's replacement when the line initially came out here in the US. And again, more backpack action. So again, it just may be the Wildrider curse here. It even affects his alternate. So yeah, he has a pretty substantial backpack as well. But just want to show them there. And then some comparisons next to some Autobots. So here he is next to Mirage. This is from the more recent, I believe, Siege line. So yeah, I do think that fits in well there. So we'll move Mirage out of the way. Then we have here Bumblebee. Here is next to Bumblebee, and again, I think that scale works well. And then here he is next to Cosmos. I love this little guy, but there you go. I think again that scale does work well. And now for some Decepticons. Here he is next to Runabout and Run Amok. And this is where I had, I guess, a bit of a, not an issue, but just noting the size, that I always thought these guys were smaller, like, you know, slightly bigger than Bumblebee, but certainly smaller than the individual Stunticons. I could be misremembering, but I think this is one case where I would wish that this guy was slightly taller or a bit more substantial, but they do fit in well. You know, I think that sort of works for me. And then lastly, of course, we have to put him together with his boss, his leader, Motor Master, and that looks awesome. That looks really great. It's so nice to have these two together. I do have drag strips, so I'll probably do a separate review for that guy. And then I also do have Breakdown and Dead End on pre-order when those guys come out, and then I'll finally probably do a separate video for Menasor with all the limbs compared. But yeah, I think overall, you know, I am happy with this guy, although as I mentioned, this backpack kind of does bum me out. I would say, I mean, if compared to how awesome Motor Master came out, and how well they did with his backpack and the legs, I would have hoped they would have done a better job in trying to integrate this back part a little better into the robot mode. But if you use this alternate way of showing it, I think it does hide it a bit better. And then obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the issues I had with the plastic right here. You guys can see the stress marks from the transformation itself. This plastic does seem a little thinner, so I would just be a little careful when doing that part of the transformation, not to stress that part out. So that kind of bumped me out, especially since his figures are like, what, $25, $30 nowadays. But I do like the way he looks. Obviously, I needed to have him for my collection, but I don't think he quite hits it out of the park like Motormaster does. I'm hoping Dragstrip is a little better, and the same thing with Dead End and Breakdown. But anyway, thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you spending your very valuable time with me. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thank you so much again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and take care, enjoy the rest of your day, be nice to each other, and I guess I'll see you next time.